Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Jake. Jake is from Los Angeles in California in the USA. So let's see what Jake has to say. Enjoy the interview. Yes, I can hear you now. Hello Jake,
Hi, William.
how are you?
I'm good.
So tell me, how's your day going so far?
Oh, it's really good. Saturday, it's the morning. I'm just waking up. It's nice. You're well ahead of me right now.
Yes, here is almost evening, 6 p.m. right now. So tell me, do you consider yourself to be more of a day or night person?
Oh, I love mornings. I love the days. Yeah, nights are nice as well. In fact, I really love looking at stars. I'm a big fan of stargazing, but I also just really appreciate the quietness of mornings, especially when you have that coolness, but it's
Mhm.
not cold. Yeah.
So tell me, where are you from, Jake?
I grew up in Seattle, Washington.
Hmm.
Yeah, so just below the border with Canada there. Great place to grow up. I think it's a just a really nice, lovely city.
I see. And tell me, what's the best part of waking up in Seattle every single morning?
Sometimes it's kind of hard to wake up in Seattle in the winter, especially. Now I live in California now. I live in Los Angeles, and before I moved to LA, I really didn't appreciate what it was like to wake up in the winters to bright sunny days because I was pretty used to waking up to cloudy, dreary, wet, cold days. Um, so with that caveat, Seattle also, and I think Britain might have the same effect because Seattle's so high up on the equator, above the equator, that in the summers you get these very long days. And so in the mornings, the sun will rise around 4:30 or 5 in the morning, and it just has this cool crispness to it that you don't really get that often in Los Angeles. We our days are always bright, they're always sunny, they're always perfect. But in the winters in Seattle, I think I really used to appreciate. I didn't realize how much I appreciated those bright, sunny, crisp mornings.
And why did you change from Seattle to California, Los Angeles?
It was right at the end of my grad degree, and I was looking for work, and it was a terrible time in the economy, and I was offered a pretty fabulous job in the Los Angeles area, and so I took it. Not really knowing that much about LA, honestly. My dad grew up in San Francisco, so I was more familiar with the Bay Area, but not really that much with LA. I'd lived there when I was a kid, but that was just for a little while in Long
Mhm.
Beach. So it was a great job, and I said, why not?
Amazing. And tell me, what do you do for work, for living, Jake?
So I work for regional government right now. I'll explain what that is. So I'm working for an organization. We support the 6 counties in Southern California. So Ventura, LA, Orange, San Bernardino, Riverside, and Imperial counties, the 191 cities and 16 tribal nations within the area. And I'm specifically focused on supporting the organizations and agencies, cities, and counties create better policies around housing so that we achieve better supply, more affordability, more choices in housing. We're really experiencing a housing crisis in America and in California in particular. And honestly, I think that you might be experiencing that same kind of a crisis in England of affordability.
I see. Actually, I'm calling you Jake, but I can see you on the screen Jacob. Jake is okay?
Jake is just fine. Yeah. I think it
Amazing.
says Jacob because professionally I use Jacob, but my friends call me Jake.
Amazing. All right, so during the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your life overall and also about your point of views, okay?
Sure.
Jake, before we start our journey within the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself, or maybe something that not many people know about you.
Oh gosh, I'm a pretty open book, so I think, if you take the time to get to know me, you pretty much know everything about me. Um, let's see. I think we just went through a couple of those things, but I live in Southern California in LA. I have a dog. I love hiking. I love bicycling. I really enjoy being outdoors. I have a real commitment to public service and being in as a profession in government. I really want us to do the right thing for the long term for our cities and for how we build and grow our region. Um, I can be a real I love plants. My undergrad actually was in botany, even though my master's was in urban planning. But my botany undergrad comes out now and then, especially when I'm working in the garden. Um, I, I can really geek out on plants.
Amazing.
That
Very
way.
good. All right, so during the journey, we're going to explore a bit more about that as well. Okay?
Yeah.
Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Okay.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend. Full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, right? Let's do it.
Got it.
Right, so before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about some reason you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay.
First
Will do.
question for you is, who are you most thankful for and why?
Who am I most thankful for and why? Um, I have an adoptive mom, and she came into my life at a point where I really needed some good guidance. My parents had me and my brother when they were very young, so really I look back now, and it was really, very much adult children trying to raise children, and we didn't really have a lot of guidance and supervision, and so this other parental figure, my adoptive mom, came into my life in a time when I really needed some good structure and guidance, and it's created this great foundation for me as a person, and kind of defined how I approach hard decisioning and the world in general.
Wow. So let's say that she's watching this interview right now and you have a moment or you have an opportunity to tell her something or to say something. What would you say?
Just how grateful I am that we made that connection years ago and that we've stayed in each other's lives. And it's just been wonderful to grow together as friends, as a relations, as this connection, and that I hope that I will, and that I have given her as much depth and fullness in life as she's brought to me.
Amazing. Great. Next question. Let's do it. Next question for you is, usually what is the first thing that you think about when you wake up?
I come back into myself and I remember where I am. I am an incredibly deep sleeper, and I go on journeys in my dreams, and it's not infrequent for me to wake up not knowing where I am, what day it is, or what I do for a living. And I find that so refreshing.
Wow. Jake, when you think about yourself, when you analyze yourself, what's the best part of being you? What do you like the most about being Jake?
Oh, I never take anything too seriously. Life happens to us, and it's for us, the challenge is what we do about it, how we approach it. It's not what it is, it's how we approach it, how we navigate it. And I am a consummate optimist. I can really tackle any problem. I can be hit with any sort of serious situation, and I will always see the glass half full. I will always see opportunity.
Wow. What's the meaning of life for you?
It's taking pleasure in the small moments. It's being present, being happy now.
Wow, amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Right, so before the next question, when I was checking your profile, I could see that there's a project regarding rhinos.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, just maybe about a month ago, I had a great opportunity to go to South Africa as part of a fundraiser and an experience to be there with a nonprofit, URhino, that is actively working to trim the horns on rhinos in South Africa so that they are not lucrative to poachers. Something that's not getting a lot of press across the world is the amount, the sheer numbers of rhinos that are being decimated in South Africa for this market, mostly in China, for rhino horn. And rhino horn is made out of the stuff that our fingernails are made out of. But within the culture, it's my understanding there's this medicinal value to rhino horn, and it's really terrible the way that a rhino horn is poached. The animals literally their face is just cut off. So, because the horn's part of their nose. And so there's really, it's killing um, rhinos across the country. So this group, URhino, they are actively seeking donations. They're looking for awareness and just to get the more visibility. But they are taking this on as a challenge to trim down the horns on rhinos so that they aren't poached. Part of the problem, unlike elephants, where if you trim off their tusks, elephants don't regrow their tusks. It's once they're trimmed, they're done. A rhino will regrow its horn every 2 to 3 years, and so it's a continuous um, process. They have to continuously. It's like trimming your fingernails, if you will, but with a chainsaw.
Wow, interesting.
It was a really wonderful experience, though, and I think if anyone's interested in URhino and that project, they really should have a look and check it out.
Amazing. Good. Next question for you is, what do you like the most in your best friends?
Authenticity. I really appreciate people that are comfortable, that know who they are, and that are comfortable enough to share and just be present in the moments as themselves.
Your best friends, they live in LA as well?
They do. Yeah, I do still have some pretty close friends in Seattle, but my friends now and my friend circle here in LA.
See. Next question. Let's do it. Hey, next question for you is, what's the most dramatic argument you ever had?
I wasn't quite ready for that question. The most dramatic argument that I've ever had. Let me think. That question's made me kind of chuckle. I do love debating. I really do. I do have a little bit of a competitive streak, and I really love that engagement and debate over subjects and conversations. Gosh. Um, even let's just say last night with friends, we ended up in this pretty heavy debate over the use of AI and what that's going to do and the effect of it on our economy. Um, the reality that our population in America is shrinking. I think it may be shrinking in England as well. In many of the first world nations, we have shrinking populations, yet our economy is set up on the understanding of an ever expanding base of consumers, and border politics and immigration in America. And so it was this fairly sizable conversation, right, that we were having that really like people around the table had very different opinions. So I appreciated and really we engaged in that pretty good.
Amazing. Ready for another question?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Next one. Jake, before the next one, tell me about how was for you growing up as a gay boy. Did you have the support of your family? Tell me a little bit about your experience.
So I made the choice. I realized who I was in my sexuality around the age of 14. And I grew up in a very devout Catholic household. We're Irish, French, Hungarian, but mostly I realized that who I was and who I was identifying as a gay man, as a gay boy, wasn't going to work at home. And so I made the conscious choice of leaving home, and I was homeless in Seattle from 14 until I got into college. And I didn't have support from my family at all through that time period. Um, we've since reconnected somewhat as later in life. But, when that question, my family was really those friendships that I made when I was out on the streets living, trying to make things, ends meet as best I could.
Wow. And when you look back through that difficult journey in your life, what's the positive outcome that come up of the out of there?
Oh, I wouldn't change a thing about what I did. I made the right choice. I think it was the best thing for me to do was to leave home. And even though it was hard, it was tough. Groups of my friends, we used to get together and we'd have one apartment that we could all stay in, or I stayed in people's second rooms or on their couches or behind their couches and the walk-in closets. It was tough. It was challenging, especially during the time when I was not old enough to legally work. So I had to fake it and just lie that I was old enough. Um, but I wouldn't change any of that. And something that's come through it is really, it very much set a foundation of who I am. And when I was describing that I'm this consummate optimist, I've been through really tough, challenging situations, and I really know that it's how you approach it. It's not what's happening to you, but it's how do you do what do you do to address it?
See. All right. Next question for you is, what's the best advice have you ever given?
The best advice?
Yeah.
Oh, you're making me think of a quote from Anais Nin, which is, and I won't say it in French. I'd probably butcher it, but we don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. And this advice, really, when someone is challenged or struggling with a situation, I've always encouraged my friends, always encouraged folks to really try to think about it objectively and try to separate out our own personal perceptions or subjectivity, because that, I think, can really cloud the reality of what we're facing.
Amazing. Okay. Next question, Jake. Let's do it. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, next question for you is, where are you planning to go for your next vacation?
Oh my gosh. That is the best question. I haven't been to Zipolite in a really long time. Zipolite is this area of the Oaxacan coast in southern Mexico. And I think that that's going to be my next destination. It's going to be just going there, being on the beach, getting a hotel on the beach and just hanging out.
Where was your last vacation?
Well, I was in South Africa about a month ago. That was mostly vacation. It was some amount of work, but mostly vacation. And then prior to that, I was in Puerto Vallarta at the beginning of December.
Wow. 3 questions left. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Before the next question, tell me something. What's, in your opinion, what's the biggest misconception that people have from LA? Yeah. And tell me something that people get right when you think about Los Angeles.
Oh gosh, just bear with me a moment while I chuckle a little bit because LA is. I think that there's people love to talk about LA, and um, for the just for a lot of real right reasons. Something that people don't get right about LA is that it is just one singular experience and one singular culture. Um, Living in LA for around 25 years now, I'll tell you that I can divide the city easily into five separate cities. So when you live in LA, you never see the entireness of LA. You never are in the entireness of LA. You really tend to pick different communities or little areas, and that's really where you are. So within that kind of a context, when people come to visit LA and they think that they can see LA in 3 days, you can't. You really can. I've always encouraged people not to try to do that because what you will do is you will frustrate yourself on the freeway system in traffic, and you'll come away from LA with a horrible experience of cars, traffic, noise, and people yelling at you and self-entitlement. Now, something that people do get right about LA, there's a lot of self-entitled people in LA. And there's a lot of people that are just focused on their own thing, doing their own thing, and you're in their way, and they don't even recognize you as anything more than an obstacle. So that is I think that there's some truth to that. But I do want to counterbalance that to say that there's also a lot of really wonderful people and wonderful, amazing experiences in Los Angeles, but that it is very much a kind of a choose your own adventure city. That you just need to be very selective when you're living here about where you're going, what experiences you want to have, and there really is everything at your fingertips. Just case in point, we can in the winter we can be on the beach and with the next day be skiing in the mountains. So it's that there's that much of variety all around the LA area.
I see. All right. Next question is, what's the soundtrack of your life and why?
The soundtrack of my life. Oh, at the moment I'm just, it changes, of course, but like right now, what's coming to mind is Pat Benatar's "Hit Me with Your Best Shot." Um, just because I'm feeling a little like excited. I'm gonna go on a bike ride later today, and you know, I'm ready to take on the world and whatever is out there.
Wow. Two questions left. Let's do it. Before the next question, Jake, what do you like the most about your job? What's the biggest joy of it? And the flip side, what do you find most challenging?
Um, I love engaging with people. I love getting to know new people, interacting and making connections. I love putting different things together. And so the thing that I love about the job that I have now and creating these grants that will ultimately lead to more housing supply choice and affordability is this creation of a program and creating shift, interrupting or disrupting our systems that we have now for good to bring forward a better future. Something that I struggle with a little bit, that I've learned how to struggle with and be successful in, is navigating the bureaucracy, which is a reality of government and reality of funding and reality of programs and systems. And I when I was younger, I think I had struggled with it more, but I've realized and really grown to appreciate now that it's really the dialogue and the interconnections and communication among people and building those connections that makes that bureaucracy work and work very well, but that there's value in taking time and bringing people along through the process.
Next question is, what has been the lowest point of your life?
Oh. Um, suppose that would have been when I did have to make a choice it was right before I left home. right before, as a teenager, a young teenager, I realized that I did have to make this very serious choice of leaving home before I was really ready to. And that was the lowest point, is just realizing that I wouldn't have the same kind of family that other people have, that I wouldn't have that ideal of a mom and dad and brother and family and connections, family, relatives, that would be around me to support me, and that I had to find something else.
And the opposite, what has been the happiest point so far in your life?
I have so many happy points in my life. Um, I'm looking at my dog right now, and I think
Oh,
some of the happiest moments I've had have been with him out on the hiking trails. Um, I think that winning different professional awards, and for that has been a real highlight in my life. Having my professional organization recognize the hard work that I've done. Um, that's definitely, I think that's been the the highest point.
last question. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Last one. But before the last question, I'm gonna go back again to your, let's say, period of your life when you left home very young, without support, and for you was a moment, a situation that I'm sure it wasn't easy at the time, your age and everything. As you said already, that you wouldn't change anything because it built the person you are right now. But my question for you is, have you forgiven, let's see, your family, or maybe, let's say, the situation, or things that at the time for you you feel free of that, or for you it's quite difficult for you to, even though you wouldn't change it, but it's difficult for you to let it go?
No, absolutely. I did have to do a lot of work within myself to recognize what I was feeling and what I was holding on to. But yeah, I've developed a very nice relationship with my biological parents. Certainly, as I mentioned, I have my adoptive mom. But my relationship with my biological parents might be a little different than other people's relationship. They are friends of mine. It took me a long time to realize that as I mentioned earlier, that my parents, I mean, they were 20 and 21 when they had two
Right.
incredibly rambunctious boys. That I think that we really drove them quite insane at times on what we got into the worst of mischief, absolutely worst things. I can think of some of the things that me and my older brother did, that if I had that child with, I have no idea what I would do. Like there was no amount of sitting us down and reasoning with us either. So I really had to look at that. And when I started to realize, the whole situation, the entirety of it, I could understand how, my parents did as best they could with what they had. And and they've come around a little bit more. The Catholic Church has taken a different stance on homosexuality. The Pope has said very positive, affirming things, and so this has been a real shift for them in their relation to me, and that has really been a change. I wouldn't have a relationship with them if they were still the same people that they were when I left home. Um, I think that's, there's really, I can tell it like I'm reading a book and turning the pages in a novel. There's not a lot of resentment or challenge there left in that whole storyline. And again, like I said, I wouldn't do anything different. It is a lovely part of what makes me me.
Easy. Last question is, if you had only 24 hours of life, what would you do?
24 hours of life. I'd go to the beach and I'd eat avocados.
Oh, avocado. I love it. Amazing. Right, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell me one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Okay.
Okay.
Let's start with family.
Oh, my dog, Jack.
Money,
Yeah, it's a necessity.
fear,
The unknown.
life,
Everything.
love,
Uh, Running water. I found water. I'm hearing a waterfall in the background right now, and it's absolutely the sound of love.
wow, beautiful. Sex,
Yes.
religion,
Open-mindedness.
politics,
We all need to get along. We all need to hear each other out, and we all need to somehow go forward together.
friendship,
Lasting. It's the glue.
desire,
Got to be careful.
can be danger,
It can be.
regrets,
That's not good to have any.
success.
It's all in what you make of it.
One word for wish.
One word for wish.
Yeah.
A word for wish.
Yeah.
Stumped me. A word for a wish. Butterfly.
Happiness.
Sunlight.
One word for Seattle.
A lot of people that know Seattle would have one word for it. But I'm going to go with spring. Well, it's two words. Well, let's say I'll try to make it one. Flowers.
One word for Los Angeles.
Sunlight.
And the last one now, USA, one word.
USA, one word. I'm gonna try not to be cynical. Opportunity.
Okay. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friends. Define Jake in one positive word and one negative word only. What your best friend would say?
He's always willing to show up. He's there, and he'll always be there. He's got my back. One negative thing, he can be pretty critical.
In a discussion like last night, yes?
Yeah.
Let's play now Jake and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. Before asking the question, maybe someone is watching this interview right now, and maybe this person is going through the same situation you went through when you were a teenager. What would be your best piece of advice for this person?
Stick with it. Just try your best to know or to see what's right for you right now, and follow your gut. Follow your gut. It might hurt, or it might be something that's scary, but it'll be for the better.
Amazing. Okay, Jake, you can ask me a question now.
Yeah, thank you, William. I've been curious. I've seen you have been doing the Magic Box for a while, right? And you've spoken with a lot of people all over the world. And I was wondering, in your thoughts or in your perception, what are those connective ties? What are the different links or the commonalities, if you would, that you hear in the conversations?
I love your question, Jake. I love your question. And I'll tell you straight away. I think everyone, all my guests, who over 1,200 people already be on the show, and talking to all those people, I realized that all of us, we are here. We want to be a better person somehow. I think all of us, we are trying. We are working every single day to become a better person, to go through our evils, or to go through our our moments that sometimes we don't understand, and of course different people, they are going from different journeys, but I realized that all of us, we want to get to a place where we can be ourselves and express ourselves the way we are. I think even though you just try to be a better person, fun enough, I realized that we are so different. There are so many people with different point of views, different ways of approaching life, different ways of, express themselves. But at the same time as well, I see, everyone in the same boat. We are all very similar somehow. That's what I realized talking to so many people around the globe. People, they it's so funny because there's a question here in the magic box that I almost took it out because I thought to myself, everyone's going to say the same. The question is, if someone gave you an envelope with your death date inside of it, would you open it or not? So when I started doing the show, this question came along, and I realized that people, and I thought to myself, I'm sure everyone is going to say, no, I don't want to open. I don't want to know what's going to happen in the future. But actually, actually, a lot of people, they said they would open it. And the way they explain why, maybe other people doesn't agree, or maybe people, they don't, but the way they say, the way they explain, it's what they believe. And that's what's interesting, because people, they have different point of views, different ways of expressing, what they believe. And I decided to keep it because the reaction of different people from different parts of the globe, it's so fascinating to see how people express, and they answer to questions. But back to your question, I think all of us, we are trying to be a better person and to, to express the best that you can, being our true self, for sure.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for being so patient and, accept my invitation. It's interesting, Jake, I must say, when I look profiles on social media, I tend not to look into too much because
Yeah.
I love to get to know my guest through the interview. And it's been fascinating talking to you. Like through your pictures, I wouldn't say, my God, you are well spoken. You are a person that I would speak for another hour and I would learn a lot, well spoken as well. So thanks so much for being so open and talk about your life, about your past, and again, helping people. People appreciate that. So thanks for being so open and participate on the show. It was a pleasure. But
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me and giving me the space and the opportunity to do that. I've enjoyed it.
absolutely. Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
I want to say the quote by Anais Nin again, that I shared earlier, and that is that we don't see things as they are, but as we are. And as we really think about that, and I'd encourage folks to really think about what that means and to apply that in your life, because I think that there's a lot of depth in it once you really start thinking about it and thinking about how that could apply in your world, that we see things as we are, not as they are. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Enjoy your hike, your cycling, and you keep in touch, okay?
Sounds good. Take care, William.
Bye-bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.